3.1, the coordinate system. We're going to look at graphing on a coordinate system, and the line here is called the x-axis, and this one is called the y-axis. And we're going to name points with ordered pairs, and that means x is first and y is second. X is going to be a right or a left movement, and y will be our up or our down movement. And we begin at the origin. So when I have a point here and I want to name that point, I start at the origin and I move over underneath it, and I've gone 5 places to the right, and so that is going to be my x, and then I go up 2, that's my y. That's the ordered pair. For this dot, so let's call this one A, this is B. Start here at the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gets me underneath it, and it was a negative movement. So it's -7 is my x, and then up 1, 2, 3. So this is the ordered pair for the B. For C, we start at the origin. Go left 1, 2 to get above it. So it's a -2. And then we're going to go down 1, 2, 3. So -3 for our C. Here we have D. Starting at the center, we'll move over 2 places to the right. And then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for our Y. When we have a number that is on the line, it doesn't go up or down. So for this one, let's call this E. For E, we moved right 8, but we don't go up and down. So our number for Y is 0. Let's call this F. For F, we don't go right or left, so our X movement is 0. And then we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for our Y movement. Now this coordinate system is divided by the axes into 4 sections that are called quadrants. And the quadrants are measured in Roman numerals. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the little b. And so you may identify the quadrant that it's in, and you notice it's going counterclockwise, and using Roman numerals for that. I'm going to give you some points that I want you to graph. And this is what I typically do in my face-to-face class, is I have the students graph some points, and then write the ordered, well, I give them the points and then they write the ordered pairs. So I'm going to pause this and put some points on here and have you identify them. Okay, here I have put some dots on this coordinate system, and I want you to name the ordered pairs. just come over here and list them: A, B, C, D, E, and F. I also want you to name the quadrant that it is in. And if it's not in a quadrant, like A, it's on an axis, then you'll just name the axis. So go ahead and do that, and I'll work while you work, and then you can check your answers. Alright, so check your answers, see how you did. And then we're going to move on to something else I want you to do. Okay. I want you to graph these points, number the dots, and then connect them, and then you'll have a shape. So put the dot, so over 4, 0, and then number it so that you can come here and start here and connect the dots, okay? So go ahead and do that little activity while I freeze it. Okay, so you should have gotten what I call my funky star. And we're doing these little practices because we will get mixed up, especially when there's zeros involved. And forget to go, 0, -1. We don't move right or left, we just go down. So I know this seems kind of elementary, but I'm sure somebody needed the practice. Okay, then let's go ahead and move on to using this in our math. This is called a linear equation. It has two variables, notice, an x and a y. That's where we get our ordered pairs from. And when we connect several, spell it right, ordered pairs, and really we're looking at, we want to connect three to create a line. So we want to know, so you have several ordered pairs that will be on a line, and so if we're wanting to check to see if certain ordered pairs are solutions, we would take and plug these in. So this is x and y, x, y, and I'm going to do this twice. I've got two ordered pairs. So 4 times x plus 7 times y equals 18. This is 1 and 2. That's 4 plus 14. So 18 equals 18. So that's a yes. Now, this could be a yes or a no. We don't really want to guess here. We want to go ahead and do the work. So I've got 4 times x plus 7 times y equals 18. This time I'm going to use -6 and 0. So -24 plus 0. So no, these do not equal. So then this one is a no. So you want to be sure and practice this, that you're plugging in the x and the y at the same time to see if they're going to be equal. This will give you a little bit of practice of what you're going to have to do when we start graphing with a T-chart. Now in this section 3.1, the homework gives you your numbers that you're going to need to use for x and y in your T-chart. In a 3.2, we'll look at the numbers that we should choose for just regular equations, or sometimes we'll have special situations that we need to be careful of. So here I've got the equation y equals 1/5 x, And the numbers that have been chosen for me are -20, 0, and 2 for the y. And that doesn't look so good. So that means I have to do this equation 3 times, twice replacing x and once replacing y. So y is 1/5 times, and the first one is -20. So y equals -4. Then we're going to do y equals 1/5 times. This time x is 0. So 1/5 equals 0. And then we're going to do it one more time. But this time we have to replace it with the y number. So y equals, y is 2, 1/5 x. To get rid of the 1/5, remember we multiply by the reciprocal. So that x is going to equal 10. Now this graph isn't big enough for me to graph all 3 of these. I don't have a 20 on here. But you will be practicing graphing. So these are your ordered pairs going across. So I'm going to look at the 10 and the 2 and the 0 and the 0. Here's my 0, 0. And then 10 and 2. And I need 3 dots. And so I'm going to go ahead and do another one of these. Now let's see, I'm going to do, let's do where this is, let's do the y number. Let's do 5. So if I have y is 5 equals 1/5 x, well, that's going to be way too big because times 5 times 5, that's not on my chart. So let me try something much smaller. Let's do 1. Okay, so 1 equals 1/5 x. And we'll multiply 5 on both sides. Oh, much better. Okay, so then let's take 5 and 1, and there we can see, draw a straight line. We have to be careful when we're drawing our lines. I'm having a hard time on my little tablet where I make my videos. But on paper, you want to be sure that you're getting your pen right in the corner. So see, I'm off just a little bit here. And so with your pen, you want to be sure that you're using a straight edge, so you're getting right in the corners of those boxes. Make your lines nice and long when you go to draw them. Now in the first part, in this first section, you'll just have some multiple choice graphs. We'll get into the graphing in 3.2. But on your own paper, you can go ahead and start practicing with the graphing. All right, let's look at another T-chart. I'll do 0 here, 0, and 7. We're not going to graph this one, we're just going to find the missing numbers. So it'll be x plus 3y equals 15, and then we'll put x in here. 3y equals 15, divide by 3, and y is going to equal 5. Then we want to do this again. But our other two options are y numbers. So x plus 3 times y equals 15. And this time we'll put in 0 for the y. So in that case, 15. Then we're going to do it again with this time 7 for the y. And we'll have to move the 21 over by subtracting. So minus 21, minus 21. And x is going to equal a negative 6. Okay, so you'll practice a lot of this in this section 3.1. Just working out using the numbers that they give you, and then in the next section 3.2 we'll pick our own numbers. Also, to get ready for our very near future, we want to look at this equation, y equals mx plus b. We're going to see this several times this in chapter 3 and again in chapter 4. And so we saw this also on our test where we had perhaps something like this, and then the directions said rearrange or solve for y. And in that case, we want to get the y alone, so we'll do the opposite of what's here. And those are not like terms. And so y would equal 18 minus 6x, or we could write it putting the x in front. Either way. But you will be doing a few of these in your homework. And so this is practice. Let's look at it one more. Let's see. Here's another one that will have more steps to it. Leave the minus 3y. When the 3x comes over, it becomes positive. Then we want to come through, and we're going to divide all the way by negative 3. So y equals a positive 4 minus excuse me, x. And here we were. This is solve for y. Getting the y alone. Okay, this is section 3.1. Get it done. Email me if you have questions, and then go ahead and move right on to 3.2 because they're very closely related. All right, good luck.